Hey guys, Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Teen Wolf Season 2, Episode 9, I think it is. Yeah, Episode 9 called Party Guest. And this episode is definitely big with reveals. And guys, I know usually I don't do Teen Wolf reviews, but I've been getting a lot of, people requesting for me to do Teen Wolf reviews. And I started watching the show during Season 2. The beginning of Season 2, I started watching it. I really saw that the show was really good. And I really didn't expect that because it is an MTV TV show. I was like, I don't think I'm going to like it. It's MTV, blah, blah. I don't think it's going to be great. But really, like, with every episode, the characters, the storyline, it's definitely one of those shows. It's like, I would say it's a guilty pleasure, definitely. It's one of those shows that you're like, I need more. Like, I need to know who's the Kanima. I need to know who's controlling the Kanima. I need to know what's going on with Lydia. Those episodes, like, I can't wait until next week's episodes. That's the type of show it is, Like, if you compare it to like shows with the Vampire Diaries, I definitely am going to talk about that a little bit, like the comparison of those two shows, and especially in this episode, there is a little bit of a comparison I have to tell you guys about, but we'll talk about that later in my review. But let's talk about what happened in this episode. This episode is Party Guests, it's Lydia has a party, and invites everybody. No one comes because she's crazy. Scott, Styles, and Allison say, oh, okay, let's help Lydia out. Let's invite people. They invite people. She has this hallucination little powder and puts it all punch, and everyone's hallucinating. Everybody. So everyone's hallucinating, and Lydia's grand plan is actually to get Derek and to do some ritual thing and get Peter, the old alpha, to, come back to life. So, let's talk about all the major things that happened in this episode. First major thing is the death of Allison's mom, I would say, and this is the comparison I'm going to go with the Vampire Diaries. A lot of people are like, oh, this is going to be a tearjerker episode, blah, blah, but for me, especially for someone who's just really been watching with Season 2, dedicated every Monday watching Season 2, and really not watching Season 1, dedicated fan, the death, I didn't think it was that emotional, for people like love Allison's mom. I don't know if anyone's, Allison's mom's like my favorite character. I don't really think anyone really has that, but whoever does, I think it's more like, oh, I can't believe Allison's mom died. But, for me, I felt like it was like, it wasn't that emotional. I think it was more emotional seeing Allison see her mother die. I think that was really the more emotional part. Especially because more people are connected to Allison's character because she's a main character. So for me, I felt like they just killed off a random, supporting character. For like I said, for Allison, it's gonna change her character a lot. But I felt like it wasn't really tearjerker, for me. But like I was going to say with the Vampire Diaries comparison, you guys know Vampire Diaries is one of my favorite TV shows. If you have a secondary character that dies in the Vampire Diaries, I feel like they make it a lot more emotional, than Teen Wolf did in this episode. Not saying, it's very hard to compare Vampire Diaries and Teen Wolf. I'm just saying in that sense. I think Vampire Diaries does the emotional thing a little bit better. I know I've cried dozens of times because of Vampire Diaries, just because of like how they deal with the death. And Jenna, end of season 2. Yeah, end of season 2. And Jenna died. Tearjerker. Even though she was one of those kind of secondary characters like Allison's mom and Jenna, I just felt like the Vampire Diaries made those characters have a little bit more of a connection. With Allison's mom, it's like, you didn't even, love her because she was attacking your main character, Scott, which you didn't really love. Yes, she was the villain, but it wasn't like Klaus, Vampire Diaries. This is definitely a big Vampire Diaries Teen Wolf comparison. But like Klaus, when he dies, you can see there's humanity in him. You see there is goodness in him. With Allison's mom, it's like, oh, I hate werewolves, and that's it. I'm gonna kill myself because I hate werewolves. I don't want to become one. Really perfect example. Vampire Diaries. Caroline's father hated werewolves, but I felt like it was more emotional when they did it in the Vampire Diaries, where Caroline's dad is dying, and Caroline's like, why you don't want to become a vampire, do you hate me? And it's just like so much more emotional. And even though that Caroline's father really was the bad one, attacking on vampires all the time, you felt a little bit more emotional with that. Again, with this, I felt like it was more emotional with Allison's reaction to it than it was with the death of Allison's mom. I was like, alright, I didn't really care that much. So that was my only comparison with Vampire Diaries, because, again, I really do love Teen Wolf. I think it's an awesome show. It's just I felt like the emotionalness of it is a little bit, in Vampire Diaries is a little bit better than it is in Teen Wolf, and I didn't really feel emotional anything with Allison's mom. I feel like Allison's reaction was a little bit more emotional than the death of Allison's mom, just because I feel like they haven't really made us want to like Allison's mom. Next is talking about the end. Well, no, let's talk about the Kanima Master. Alright, so there's definitely been a lot of people like, oh, who's the Kanima Master? It could be, photographer guy who was actually the Kanima Master. But there's definitely clues like, oh, the Kanima Master can't swim. There's an imagination sticker that has to do with Kanima's Master. They're connected to some students. So definitely there's clues. So, when we found out that, the photographer guy couldn't swim, it's like, he's the Kanima Master, but a lot of people are saying, like, how about if it's Allison's grandfather? How about if it's Lydia somehow? It's Teen Wolf. Anything can happen. Did you think Jackson was gonna be the Kanima? No. I didn't, at least. I thought it was Lydia. So, really, I love how, like, Teen Wolf points to the obvious and then goes directly not to the obvious. Obvious in this one would have been, Allison's grandfather. And then the not so obvious is the photographer guy. So definitely can't wait to learn more about him. Definitely will learn more about him. Seems like next episode is going to be a lot about him. But let's talk about something that really I feel like was the biggest part in this episode. What I've been really waiting for. The whole Peter and Lydia storyline. Since not last episode, but the episode before that, there was a big story with Lydia going crazy and then finding out that the person she liked that no one else saw was Peter, and Lydia, again, is just going nuts. Like, what the hell's going on with her, So in this episode, we find out a little bit more, like, Peter's like, alright, Lydia, you don't want me to hang around with you anymore? Fine. Listen to everything I say. During this party, put, powder in everyone's drink. Bring Derek to me, and I will revive, and maybe I'll be done with you, I won't bother you, I won't hallucinate, I won't give you hallucinations anymore. And Lydia's like, I just want to be normal again, please, no more hallucinations, because really this whole season's like hallucinations for Lydia. Her, at the ice rink, her at, the classroom, all these different hallucinations. That's been her character, the crazy girl. But still, there's things that definitely are questioned in the end of this episode. We get to see Derek's eyes. I don't know if a lot of people notice this, but his eyes go red, werewolf, to regular. Is he a werewolf anymore? Did Peter's revival, when he stuck his, werewolf claws into Derek, did it make Derek not a werewolf anymore? Question. That's definitely something, that is definitely could be possible. Because why would his eyes go red and then normal? Maybe it was just that, special effect. But I really think that could be really cool if Derek's not a werewolf anymore. What is he going to do if he's not a werewolf anymore? Who's the alpha? Peter or Derek? Also, a question I do have from this episode is, why Lydia? This whole entire time, Peter's like, you're my plan B, you're immunity. That's why that I needed you. But why did he need someone that was immune? Couldn't it have been anyone that he could have, put his little pixie dust of red hallucination powder on and made anyone have that party? Why did it have to be Lydia, and why does she have to be immune? And why is she immune? That's really a question. I think that's really a question I want to be answered the most, more than even the Kanima, who was the master. I didn't really care as much for that one. I definitely did care about who was the Kanima. I'm really happy that was Jackson. Still, his story, I think, could progress even more with that. But what is Lydia? And like, when is she gonna get in the loop with all the werewolf stuff? How is she gonna get in the loop? Will it be next episode? Because every episode I'm like, will Lydia find out? Will we find out what Lydia is? So those are definitely things that I'm questioning. Like, and again, why did Peter go to Lydia? And, so tell me in the comments below what you guys thought about this episode. And again, tell me, guys, what you think Lydia is. I still think that she's something supernatural because, like, I tell you the truth, I hope that happens. I don't want to be like Lydia. Oh, Lydia has immunity. Why? No reason, That's it. She just has immunity for some reason. I really would like her to be like a witch or something, a vampire, something totally different like they did with that Kanima thing, a totally different creature. But I want Lydia to be something, and my guess we're gonna find that out like closer to the season finale, because I feel like that's the storyline they've been really dragging through this whole entire season. I wanted the answer for, like, from the season finale, we're like, what's gonna happen to Lydia? And then we find out she's not a werewolf because she's immune. But what is she? Why is she immune? So that's definitely something I'm really interested in to see. I'm really interested to see what Peter is gonna do after this. Is Derek still a werewolf? What Allison's gonna do that our mother is dead? Like, what side is she gonna pick? Definitely a lot of questions. Tell me in the comments below if you like this review of Teen Wolf, and then I'll do more depending on, you know, how many views I get for this one and how many comments, and if you guys liked it. And tell me in the comments below what you thought about this episode and really the questions I have. Do you have the same questions? Do you have more questions? Tell me in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the random situations, and it'll just have news about my upcoming videos. So you guys can ask me other recommendations for TV shows, because obviously I do answer them, because I wouldn't have done a Teen Wolf episode review if someone didn't ask me. So I have to know. Guys, tell me what you know, recommendations you have. Tell me on Twitter. Tell me on comments below. Tell me. So this is Comic Uno. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, guys.